Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bull City Hangout 3-8. I'm Pat Murray. I publish the Durham Skywriter, the Durham's online community paper, which you can check out in its entirety at durhamskywriter.com. Now, with Bull City Hangout, I tell you what's happening this weekend in Durham, and I do invite you to click on the link on the Durham Skywriter Facebook page if you would like to join me on camera, to shoot the breeze, say hello, promote yourself. All that would be great. And also, I want to let you know that while I'm on Facebook right now on the Durham Skywriter page, I'm also on the on LinkedIn, YouTube, the Durham Skywriter YouTube channel, and then and Twitch. I just joined Twitch, so I'm also on Twitch. And then after the show, I uploaded to X and Blue Sky. So follow me on Blue Sky also, because I won't be on X forever, obviously. None of us will. So anyway, I'm just moving my keyboard so I can put my iPad on the table. So what I'm going to do with today being Saturday, I'm just going to read from the Let's Go calendar of events page because it's Saturday and you want to go on about your business. And there's a lot of things I have on my to-do list, so I want to get to that as well. So let's go to the Let's Go page and also be doing the weather. And if someone wants to join me on camera by clicking on the link, I'll see them backstage, so to speak. Then I'll bring you on right after I do the weather. Okay, today's the 8th. Let me scroll down to 8. Okay, so the Durham Farmers Market is going on right now until noon. And the South Durham Farmers Market is also going on until noon. Both of their winter hours are 9 until noon. The Durham Farmers Market is downtown in Durham Central Park, which is 501 Foster Street. A park for free by going just west to Morris, and you park in the Measurement Incorporated parking lot, or just south. There's another parking lot on Foster Street. Now, the South Durham Farmers Market, they have a relatively new spot. Hub RTP, 500 Park Offices Drive off of Highway 54, and there is plenty of parking, no worries there. And they're right down the road from Boxyard RTP, which is really cool. Now, if you have SNAP, EBT, have your credentials with you or card or whatever, and take it down to the farmers market, either one, the Durham Farmers Market or the South Durham Farmers Market. But before you go shopping, stop by the manager's table so that you can double your money. So maybe you set aside or you plan to spend $10, you can get $20 worth. Even if you plan to spend $30, you'll get $60 worth. So you can double your money. So don't shop until you stop by the manager's table. All right. Now, the PAC meetings are today for Districts 3 and also 4 and 5. They both just started, and they don't mind at all if you tiptoe in late. People come in late all the time. But basically, the PAC meetings as Partners Against Crime is a great way to find out what's going on in your community. And it's just also a great way to find out about city and county programs. A lot of times they print out all these flyers with great information and they just put it out on the table for you to pick up. It's fantastic. So District 3, which is sort of like South and West, they'll be meeting, they're meeting right now, at the Lion Park Recreation Center, 1309 Halley Street. So again, just tiptoe in. They don't mind if you're late. Ooh, Barb is here. Okay, I'll bring you on right after the weather, Barb. Now, Districts 4 and 5 meet together. District 4 is like south, like due south from downtown, slightly east, just a little bit. And then District 5 is downtown. And they meet at the IR Home Senior, also known as Campus Hills Recreation Center, 2000 South Alston Avenue. And again, tiptoe in late, they don't mind at all. Now, with today being second Saturday, that means free food. If you are struggling, if you're in need, don't suffer unnecessarily. Don't be embarrassed because there are people who are specifically set up to help. So get that help. You deserve it. So today, Jules Outreach, they host Jules Feeding Friends as a grocery giveaway at Monroe Christian Church, 1701 Sherman Avenue. And if I'm not mistaken, that is not too far from me. I think there's So, where South Austin, old South Austin, you go behind the Burger King. I You can access it. Use your GPS, but I know it's around there somewhere. I know it's somewhere in my community, not too far from the Burger King. And if I'm incorrect, please correct me. Okay, so that's going on from 10 until noon. Now, UCAN, which is the Urban Community Agronomics, they're hosting their Black History Month group hike from 10 until noon. I know it's already 10, but still, they're open all day, and you can just enjoy just being out in nature. So, Urban Community Agronomics, also known as UCAN, they own the Catawba Trail Farm. That address is 2080 Sawmill Creek Parkway. It's a free event. It was rescheduled because it was snowing when it was originally scheduled. So you can just look at the different historic sites, the beautiful community gardens, and also learn about the area's African American and Native American history. And again, if you miss the official tour, they don't mind if you stop by and just, like I said, just look around. It's free. Okay, now NC Comic Con, they are co hosting the Durham Mini Comic Con that's going on right now. It just started a minute ago. So it's all day from 10 to 5 at downtown at the Durham Armory, 212 Foster Street. Super fun event. If you're a geek who loves comic books, superheroes, costumes, they encourage you to cosplay, wear your favorite costume. They also have geeky in quotes toys and crafts. Admission is $6.78 and is free if a young person age 12 and younger goes with a paid adult. So you just can't go in there with your friends, just roll in. So you have to be with a paid adult in order to get in for free. Okay. Now the Book Harvest, which is at 2501 University Drive, they're hosting Spanish Story Time from 11 until noon. This is where young children are invited to enjoy a story in Spanish. They're going to have music, activities, playtime, etc. And then afterwards, each family can choose a book to take home to read together. That is so sweet. And anyone can get a free book. So what I'm trying to say is, even if you don't speak Spanish and you don't want to go to this event, doesn't matter. 24/7 Book Harvest has bookshelves outside their shop. I'm saying shop, but you know what I mean. 2501 University Drive, 24/7. You can always go there with your child and pick out a book to take home to read together. And they're really trying to encourage people to help their kids learn how to read and to enjoy reading. That used to be quite the pastime. When we were little kids. In fact, I had a neighbor, and I would just go to their house, and I was a goofy little kid. Anyway, I'd say hi, and I just walk into their house, and they had kids who had outgrown their books. They were, I guess teens or whatever, and they were never home. I don't know where they were, but anyway, I would just make myself at home on the floor of their den and read their older kids' kitty books. And my mom would call. She'd say, is Pat over there? And they said, oh, sure, she's fine. So anyway, reading is such a beautiful pastime once you learn how. So encourage your kids to read by taking a book home for free from Book Harvest. Now, the Spanish story time, like I said, is from 11 until noon. Okay, I was talking about free food, right? Free groceries. So White Rock Baptist Church, 3400 Fayetteville Street, they're going to have their grocery giveaway. They do this every month on second Saturday from 11 until 1. So you just drive up on the Fisher Development side of the church. That's a lot of people don't know what that is, but just where the cemetery is. It's right next to the cemetery. Just drive in that way. And you'll see a long line of cars because the need is still there. And I appreciate White Rock of giving away groceries the way they do every month. And that's usually where I go on second Saturdays. One Love Christian Church on the other side of town, they are also helping their neighbors. 1315 Horton Road, they have a drive-through grocery giveaway. And they are located at, like I said, 1315 Horton Road, and it is from 11 until 1. Let's see. Oh, Boxyard RTP, 900 Park Offices Drive, off of Highway 54. They'll be featuring Latin and African music, plus trip hop by DJ G. during their next Saturday's music series from 11:30 until 2:30. So maybe you want to do some shopping at the farmers market and then head over to Boxyard RTP, put your feet up, enjoy, buy a lunch. It's a free event, so you just go and make yourself comfortable, and you can buy something to eat or drink and just relax for a bit. Now, if you want to, it's nice out today, you want to get your hands dirty, here's where you go. The Change Center, they're inviting those who want to learn about gardening and want to work in a community garden. They're going to have a start of spring work day today. They picked the perfect day. They have the Serenity Community Garden. 1309 Jackson Street, not too far from Lyon Park. So this is going to be today from 1:30 until 3. Be sure to wear, of course, closed-toed shoes. Speaking of closed-toed shoes, you're also encouraged to wear those when you go to the Bull City Wood Shop today, 1912 East Pettigrew Street, right off the railroad tracks. They're going to be holding a cat shelf class today. So learn how to make a proper window perch for your favorite cat so they can look out the window. And if you don't have a cat, you can put your plants on it. So this is where you get to learn how to use their miter saws and their power drills and all the wood cutting tools and whatnot, and make something really cute to take home. Now, the cost for the workshop, because you're using their tools and materials, is $75. It sounds like a lot, but if you have it, then definitely attend the workshop and bring something, like I said, something cute to enjoy at home. Also knowing that the proceeds from the, what you're paying the Bull City Woodshop for this workshop pays for their free woodworking after-school program for kids. There you go. That's why the cost is high, relatively high. But here's the thing. Once you learn how to do something, once you pay to learn how to do something, you can replicate it later. Just saying. And if you're entrepreneurial, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Okay. Now, tonight, Kent Dixon and Neil Allen, they'll be giving a free concert at the Sacred Grounds Coffee House, the Christian music venue, 2700 North Roxborough Street in St. Paul United Methodist Church. It's going to start at 7:30. It's a free concert. And of course, any donations will be graciously accepted. Now, tomorrow, they're going to have Sunday morning meditation at the Shambhala Center of Durham, 733 Rutherford Street, right around the corner from 9th Street. So that's going to be from 9 until noon. It's a drop-in event. You don't have to be there all 3 hours. But you can learn how to meditate if you always wanted to learn how. They're going to have sitting meditation and they're going to have walking meditation. And if it just so happens that you can't make it because you just don't have the time to just go out there, you can attend via Zoom and still learn how to meditate, which is great. Now, tomorrow, if you like to dance, the Triangle Dance Studio, 2603 South Miami Boulevard at the Triangle Meeting Space. They're going to be hosting Sunday Salsa Social. That's going to be tomorrow, 6:30 until 9. You can dance to salsa, bachata, cha-cha, kizomba, merengue, cumbia, everything but samba. They might have samba. You should ask. Anyway, the dance lesson starts at 6:30, and then open dancing afterwards. Admission is $9, $7 for active military and students with current ID, and free if you're 16 and younger. So, yeah. Oh, the weather's so nice. Let's go into the weather, and then I want to see what Barb's talking about. So let me take this off the cord there, and let's do some weather. Wait 1 second. Setting it up. Here we go. Love that. Okay. I don't know if you're ready for this. 58 degrees. You know what? Barbara's probably enjoying even better weather than we are. We'll find out. But yeah, it's 58 degrees right now. It's sunny. It's it's not going to be sunny all day. It looks like in the afternoon, the sun will definitely be playing peekaboo. It says 1 hour cloudy, the next hour sunny, and then partly. Yeah, the sun is going to be playing peekaboo after 1 o'clock. But for now, total sun, 58 degrees. The high today 65. It's not even spring yet. 65 degrees, folks. I'm loving it. And don't forget, by the way, I think we turn our clocks. Don't we turn our clocks up? Let me let me see. Grab my little calendar. I'm old school. Yeah, we turn our clocks up tonight. Spring forward, fall backward. Yeah. So tonight is yeah, so tomorrow. Oh, you know what? For those who are fasting for Ramadan, let's see. Sunset today is 6:17, which means tomorrow you'll be fasting until I guess 7:18. So how about that? So you have to fast one more hour. That's okay. So tomorrow the high will be 57 and it will be cloudy. That's okay. Because like I said, it's not spring yet. It's fine. Now Monday, it's going to be even cooler. It's going to be a cool, rainy day. It will only go up to 56. And I can say only because the rest of the week is going to be in the 70s. I am so ready for that. I am just so ready for that. So anyway, let's bring on Barb. Now, Barb knows how I'm learning these new programs. So I know how to bring you on now. Let me click on dynamic scene. I'm using something called EVMux, by the way, folks. And they have a powerful free version if you want to learn how to do what I'm doing right now, live streaming, bringing on guests, having music and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. Check out the free version. I actually did buy the pro package because this is what I plan to do every day, so why not? But so I click on dynamic scene and then add Barb to the scene and then transition. Here we go. Ta-da! It worked. Yes. Barb, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yes, indeed, it worked. Guess what? I've been
What?
trying to join you for since the last time something happened and Evie Mux would not accept my camera, right? I'm
Weird.
like totally beside myself doing all this troubleshooting. And
Okay.
this morning I said, I'm going to do this one more time. And it
Yeah.
dawned on me, this is about getting old, Patricia. It
I
dawned
can
on
relate.
me,
I can
I
relate.
better check my Windows settings and see if my camera in my Windows settings had changed. And it had. So that's why it wasn't working.
Hmm.
So
So what was it set on?
it was on the integrated webcam, but I have that turned off because I manage all my video from a virtual webcam I have for uh,
Oh, you're just
15
fancy.
years.
Oh, you're
Because I
fancy.
can, while I'm here with you, I could put 20 different scenes on, and
Oh,
including me in real time on my webcam. So
wow.
that's just with the that's to control the video. So
Okay.
I'd be lost without it. But obviously,
I
I've got my corgis behind me, my husband behind me, and there's no way I can come on camera today.
I got you. I almost sent you a video. It wasn't quite funny enough, but it was called the laziest fight ever, and it was two corgis. And one was like on his back, and they were like fighting, like just kind of. It was kind of cute, but it wasn't quite funny enough to share with you. But I did think of you when I saw it.
Well, thank you. Well, it's been forever since we last caught up, and
I'm
it's absolutely crazy. You saw that Facebook was taking away our live videos, right? All the new ones since February. What
huh?
was it? February the 19th, I think.
What?
That your new live videos that are actually on Facebook, they
Yeah.
after 30 days they'll be gone. So you need to
Oh,
replace your video with your recorded version.
oh no, that's
That
fine.
post
Oh, that's fine because if I were doing like important interviews, I'd worry about that. But this is almost like a daily newspaper where you don't care about it after it's, after it's,
after it's
the
gone.
next day. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
So yeah, it's a big deal for most folks because
I
they
understand.
they just didn't realize. But Facebook's stats showed them that people weren't clicking on replay that often,
Mm,
and it takes a lot of the data centers. That stuff, it has to be stored somewhere, and it takes a lot
mm.
of space on their data at their data centers. So
That makes
they
sense.
they did that. So oh
I don't
well.
mind. I think most of my views, however, are replay, but it's the same day because, like I said, this is like a daily newspaper.
Uh
So
huh.
it doesn't have value, I don't think, except for the interviews. Like if somebody comes on, I would think if you wanted to save your appearance on Bull City Hangout that you would do that. Because a lot of people, sometimes when people come on Bull City Hangout, it is to promote something.
Mm-hmm.
So it would occur to them, I'm sure, to go ahead and copy it so they can edit it down, you know.
Uh huh.
But this makes all the more sense to use something like EVMux or these other live streaming programs to broadcast on more than one setting
Destination, yeah.
destination. Yeah, because I'm on, like I was explaining at the beginning of the show. Right now, I can see my little icons. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch, and
Awesome.
then I upload to X and Blue Sky. And I got an angry email from X last week. There's this friend.
Imagine that you'd get an angry email from X.
I can see them just
I'm
typing
sorry.
angrily.
I'm
But
sorry.
what I had done was you know what, I should I should do a little write up and put it on the word page. But there is a French app that you can use to extract all of your X Twitter contacts and transfer
Uh-huh.
them over to Blue
Right,
Sky.
right, right. Uh-huh.
And so I had done so. And so I think when they detect that you have done that, that indicates you're going to quit. X. So I got this angry letter. You have violated our guidelines, and you can't use X anymore. And even if you start a new X account, we're not going to let you. And so here's the funny thing, though, Barb. I took them for their word,
Oh,
and the next day that I did Bull City Hangout, I said, well, let me just see if if
it's gone.
it's fine. Nothing
Yeah.
has changed. They were just, I mean, it was almost like an angry 12-year-old,
Right.
why did you do that? Because
Now tell me we don't see activity like that on X every day.
I'm sure nothing has changed. So I'm still uploading to X and Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny. It's funny being on Twitch because, I mean, I don't really have an audience on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured it's available. EVMux allows you to broadcast to four different. Like when I was using StreamYard, they allowed, with the package that I had, for me to broadcast to three. EVMux says I could broadcast to four, so I said, why not? Why not Twitch? Since that's the only other uh, platform that I subscribe to, so why not?
Yeah.
So
I've been joining. Do you remember Madeline Sklar?
yeah, I remember the name.
Yeah, she's like she was the one who got me on Twitter, which is now X, but
Okay.
she was the number one person for Twitter. But
Hmm.
she's based in Texas, and I knew her from the days of MySpace. You remember MySpace?
Wow.
Anyway, I'm on her every Thursday at 11 a.m. I'm
I
I'm
know.
on X and wherever we all stream to, but she does use StreamYard. So each of us
Okay.
who have StreamYard accounts can stream to two destinations of our choice.
Okay.
So that really spreads it out. But
I accidentally stumbled. Maybe you had put the link up, but I did stumble across that show, and you were one of the guests, or I think you were. I think you attend there regularly anyway.
yeah,
But
last week was super at
oh,
Thursdays, and I actually pinned it to my ex account, and I think it's pinned on my profile on Facebook.
okay.
But we talked about Mari Smith. You know who Mari is, right? Mari
Oh yeah,
Smith,
yeah,
yeah, the queen of Facebook.
yeah.
And we are in her social scoop group. I mean, Mari was one of the three people that got me to get on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and Mari all of a sudden, I mean, you wouldn't think she's pro Facebook anymore
What?
because of all the things that were happening to her on that platform. And
Really?
so, but we all, I mean, I think there were other streamers in that group when we were there that actually knew Madeline from MySpace as well. But it
Mm-hmm.
turned out to be pretty fascinating. I mean, it reminded me of the old Blab days, and who's going
Oh,
to come and sit in the box, and
yeah.
oh yeah, and everybody had good size audiences and stuff, so it was tons of fun. But
Nice.
I was so frustrated that I couldn't get in with you on EV Mux. And I had signed up, for the free one, to the free account, to just try it out. And I haven't had time to do that. But it didn't, I mean, like, if I'm from the behind the scenes, from the interface, there is no profile on icon on my account, and I had set it up and everything, so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't pick it up.
Hmm.
But I thought, if I can't get in today, I'm going to do a screenshot and put it in the group and wake
Yeah,
people
I
up.
tried.
It was good because I didn't want you to think I'd forgotten you.
Oh,
So,
I figure you're busy too because I'm assuming that the balloon season's got to be really warming up right now,
yep,
right?
yes, ma'am, it is. And also, you
And
remember
folks,
the
we're talking about hot air balloons. We're not talking about birthday balloons. We're talking about
right,
big
right,
ones.
right,
Yeah.
right. And also, because I mean, we have been on our live streaming journey since Blab
Mhm.
together, and the Be Live platform, which was a direct competitor to EVMux and
Oh
to
yeah. No.
to
Yeah.
um, StreamYard.
Hmm.
Uh, it the CEO of that one talked to me last week, and so
Okay.
in the last couple of weeks, and so he asked me to come in and ch- check out the group and see what I could do to liven it up. I think you're still in there, so if you are, I will be tagging you. So
Okay.
I see there's Brigitte. She's listening
Yeah.
in. She knows she's in both of those groups as well.
I
But
remember her from way back.
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
So
Virginia.
happy International Women's Day, girls.
Oh,
It's-
awesome. Okay. I
that's
didn't
today,
know.
yeah. And
Oh, happy
tomorrow,
internet. And she is international.
right.
I can't
And
remember which country.
tomorrow in our country, it's National Barbie Day.
It is? How
Yep.
cute. Oh,
Yep.
so when if I go to the farmer's market, I always take this bag and people ask me if it's a Barbie bag. And I didn't realize that people would think of this as a Barbie bag. This is hot pink. Is
Oh, yeah. Looks
I
very
didn't
Barbie.
I did I love it. I didn't know. I love it.
Definitely looks very Barbie.
I have a hot orange one too.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Now, did I mention this to you before, Barb? That um, Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, admitted that he purposefully limited the reach and scope of media outlets.
Yes, ma'am. I
And he,
know that story.
okay,
Yeah.
so I don't know if that includes little tiny news outlets like mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
but
Well,
he
he did
admitted
not
it.
anymore. It. I mean, he
Oh,
claimed he was actually
well, thank
by
you. She said, lovely bag. Thank you.
yeah that he was threatened by the administration, the prior administration, and that's why he was doing that. That's what he put the blame on. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not, I mean, all of that is so bad. I was like, stay out. You boys are just fighting
Mm-hmm.
so much. It's embarrassing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
But I like that is the one thing about X and all that. I said, Mari Smith asked, we talked about X and her group. And I said, well, I'm keeping, because the other thing we talked about was the blue check mark, and on
oh,
Facebook and so forth, that were,
oh yeah,
if
they
you
don't have
pay
any
for
more, do
that
they? Yeah.
and the value of it and so forth. And so I have the blue check mark on Twitter because initially, I had to prove who I was, and
Mhm.
it was for the first paid version of X. After Musk took over, and so she was asking about it, and I said, "Well, I'm probably going to can't. I don't have the blue one on Facebook," and I told her why. And then I said, "But the one on X, I'm probably going to cancel right after. I want to save it for now because I want to start tweeting to Elon's mom."
Oh,
I just, uh, she and I are the
wow.
same age, and I'm looking,
Oh,
and we both had really brilliant sons, and I'm looking at all that, and I'm wondering, I wonder what she's really thinking of all that,
I don't know.
and just to see if I can get
Wow.
her to respond.
He acts like an orphan. I mean, I had no idea he still had parents. He should be ashamed.
I don't
I'm
want to
lucky
go
I
there,
got that
but
much
I
that
am,
she's still
the
alive.
behavior thing is an
Mhm.
issue with me because,
Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
act like that if my
eventually
parents were
people
still
need to
alive.
grow up.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
Don't want to
And
get any.
Tasha's wondering about that pink bag. So, you know what? I don't remember if I ordered it from Temu or Amazon. I think Temu. I'm pretty sure I got it from, because it's the same bag that they had on Amazon, but it was much, 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 much cheaper. Like $4 or $6 or $8, something like that. Real cheap, real cheap. And it's really sizable. It's the perfect bag for the farmer's market. And Bajeti was saying crazy stuff, manipulating the media. Yeah, I mean, you have it's. I'm not going to make any comments. You know how I feel about it. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm just going to continue to do my thing, whether I think I'm being throttled or not. I'm still going to continue doing what I do because I'm probably the world's tiniest news outlet. You
But I
know.
also think, I mean, you and I were involved in in legacy media
Mhm.
way back when.
Yeah,
We've been involved in that. And,
print, radio,
we were
TV.
involved in it when, the our AP guide had our style guide from AP was a
Mhm.
lot different back then than it is today. I mean, I actually ordered
Oh,
one a few years ago and I was like, wow, this is totally different.
oh, yeah, I had one. I still have mine somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I have my original one still.
Yeah,
Yes,
Manual of
absolutely.
Style, University of Chicago, and
Yeah, I think I took it.
Webster Dictionary,
Yeah, I
and
took it back to the bookcase in my other room. I would share it with you, but it that whole thing, I get it. Because you and I also got involved in the new media together. But
yeah,
you know what? The ethics are an individual thing. Each one of us. I mean,
true.
I don't, I mean, yes, I had the guideline in that, but God, just be real, just be true
It's
don't
hard for a lot of
embellish.
people.
And
Yeah.
it's just changed so much, but I think that's also a generation thing. So,
I don't know. I think I don't know. I really think some people have been putting on airs since forever,
hmm
trying to promote certain things, certain
hmm
personas. That's nothing new. It's just that what I think, to me, the major difference is the age of the people that are being dragged into this arena. Because when I was a kid, I'm not saying the kids didn't read newspapers, because I was always that little geek in the back of the bus
Hmm.
reading a newspaper on my way home from school. But it seems that social media drags in people who are so young that they really don't understand what it's all about. And I think that's having a real detrimental effect on their psyches. And that includes the news media, because it's amazing how many kids are. It's like MAGA is like this fun club for children, for a lot of kids. You know, they're dragged into this arena without even knowing what politics is all about. But it's a fun. It's almost like a club that a lot of them belong to, with the hats and all that sort of thing. Because I watch them on social media, and I'm like, this didn't happen back in my day with newspapers and radio. Kids had their own radio stations. The adults had their own radio
Right.
stations.
Hmm.
Most kids didn't read the newspaper, and if they did, they were kids' version, like the Weekly Reader, and the kids' versions of like Sports Illustrated, and all that sort of thing. The different magazines, High Five, and all the kiddie stuff. But now we're all in the same, pretty much the same. I keep using the word arena. It's the only word I can think of right now. But it seems like we're all in the same playground, with the younger set not really understanding what it's all about. And I don't think it's affecting them. I don't think it's having a good effect on their psyches, to be honest with you. And I'm talking about the worship of riches. I'm talking about the politics. I'm talking about the whole shebang. It's just too bad that I don't know. I really feel kind of badly about social media right now. I think it's wonderful for me, but I can see how it's really damaging the psyches of a lot of younger people who are getting in way over their head right now. I'm watching right now the saga of Johnny Somali. I don't know if you know anything about him. And he really exemplifies the dark side of social media and youth and money, how they all intersect.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to YouTube and just type Johnny
I know who it
Somali
is.
trial,
Yeah. That whole
and
thing. That's not
it's
what it was. I was early on getting online back in the 80s, and back in the BBS days, and then to the World Wide Web and all that stuff. But
yeah,
it can be a very dangerous place.
very
And
much
it
so.
always it has been through all through time. But the whole thing is that it opens up the world, so you have to take responsibility for yourself. And
Yeah,
that's what's happened is, and I'm a baby boomer, and in my generation, so many of the parenting practices were is to let the children, just do their thing. And I wasn't like that, but I'm just going to say that there was a lot more because of what our previous generation had gone through. There was a lot more of that. And as of today, we're paying for it. So is
yeah.
what it is. I just accept it and hope that whatever happens, that I can still keep a roof over my head
Oh my goodness!
and
Wow.
healthy, right? I
Yeah,
mean, because the medical thing is such a big deal. So
yeah.
as you get older. So yeah. So
It's a it's
anyway,
a it's a remarkable world, but it has to be managed.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
it's not going to be managed at the root, then the parents need to start taking more responsibility.
That
Because
there
when
you
I was
go.
when now before now I'm a baby boomer too, and it's my opinion. This might not be correct, but it seems that this era of kids having their world and adults having their world, to me, I don't think it existed until mid-century. I don't even think teens were a thing. I might be wrong, but even when we were little, Only
Mid
the
20th century, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Because when we were
It was
little,
family. It was all
yeah, yeah,
family.
everybody, they would be in the living room watching the same TV
Hmm.
shows, radio
Right.
shows and stuff. And only the white kids had their own stations when we were real little. And then as we got older, then they came up with a black teen, young person's radio. And then
Hmm.
we started, you start, you start, how can I put it, separating yourselves from your parents when the market starts catering to your demographic. And at that time, if there were things that the parents didn't want, like profanity or if the freedom, because there are freedoms with us being American, if the parents thought that they didn't want their kids to be exposed to sexual content, alcohol, whatever, they would threaten the radio stations with a boycott. So they kind of helped determine what we were, you know, um, bring into our homes, so to speak. So the parents still had control. We were listening to the radio, but if the parents thought it was getting too adult or whatever, they'd step in. That's not
Hmm.
happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening now at all. And now, in fact, the parents are almost like blaming the kids. And I'm like, no, the kids will indulge in whatever they're allowed to. And if you're not there to help direct that, or at least to explain what it is they're indulging in, it's just a free for all. And you have adults catering to children, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
And if the parents aren't around to even notice, you don't know what your kids are bringing into your home. You really don't. This character, these characters like Johnny Somali, well, he's the first one that I could think of. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a young man who he says he's suffering from mental illness. I don't think that gives any excuse for what he does. He goes to foreign countries and basically accosts people
Yeah.
and insults cultures. And he's vulgar.
Hmm.
He does things that are illegal. And he has a very young, devoted following. He makes a lot of money because in the way that it's set up with social media, the more people watch, the more money you can make. So he makes a lot of money. He goes around to different countries and basically is acts a fool. South Korea, however, took offense, and he had his first trial last night, and he might be spending some jail time.
Hmm.
That doesn't happen to nearly. That doesn't happen. Most of these guys get off scot free, but he's the first one to, as far as I know, to be taken to trial in such a way by South Korea. So, and the adults who are watching might be shocked if they watch the videos about Johnny Somali. They might not even be aware that their kids are watching this stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so so anyway. I think we need to, if we have kids, we need to be a little bit more mindful of what they're watching because you'd be shocked. You would be absolutely shocked what is allowed on social media.
Hmm.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
agree with you. I'm not shocked because I've been involved in projects since the early days and
Yeah.
safety for children. I don't know if you remember the Electronic Frontier Foundation. It still
Yeah.
exists, but and I was involved. That one time I was on 60 Minutes on what was going on. It's that the
Hmm.
child safety is absolutely critical. And
Yeah.
the problem today is that they say, even Facebook says, the age you've got to be, and they ignore it. They ignore the
Yeah.
rules and they
Yeah.
give them a smart device just to keep their mouths shut. So, or, take the attention away so that
Mhm.
mom or dad doesn't have to pay attention to them. So that's
Yeah.
called parenting. So parenting is not necessarily an in thing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it is. It's just that we don't. It's not glorified the way it should be. Good parenting, that is. So.
Well, I have to say, in my ballooning community, because we have balloons in the Carolinas where you are.
Yes. Yes.
But because it's a sport, the sport that it is, it's really a family affair.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a lot more since you and I met. We have a lot more younger people coming into ballooning than ever before,
Excellent.
and they're raising their families. As we have mom and dad are pilots,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids are pilots. You know,
Ooh.
um, and so that's I'm so glad to have been able to live long enough to experience that. But it has made a big difference. And I noticed that in many of the families, at least one of them is a teacher. The
Interesting.
mom or the dad. And the other thing I noticed that those who are not, because you can be what's called a commercial balloon pilot, where
Mm-hmm.
that's all you do, but most of them, they have a what we call a real job,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to that, and they're like firemen and policemen and that kind of thing. So they're all very responsible. But the most important thing is that ballooning, because you have to work together to get a balloon in the air and to put it away, and
Mm-hmm.
safety is absolutely critical, all the way around, because you have to go somewhere to launch the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you got to know how to drive a vehicle. You've got to be safe on the road, and and you've got to have permission to launch it from wherever you do. It's got to be a legal thing, or you're going to get both authorities on the land and the air.
Mm-hmm.
Air, so it's a losing proposition. So
Mm-hmm.
I think now more than ever before, ballooning is a great family sport to get involved in.
I
And
think anything that families do together can be so wonderful. Now,
mhm.
when it comes to ballooning, though, would you say most people who are into ballooning own their balloons, or can you rent a balloon?
Most of them own, but I would also say that, because we're talking about economics as well, not,
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
usually people, and it's not inherent. Most people make their own, and they've earned that right. Some other have saved their money and been able to do that. They were inspired to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now something else that has happened since the blab days is that it's called remote control ballooning, and they are actually sizable. They're not little tiny
Oh.
things that you see in the store. They are about $5,000 a piece. Let me just say that that's, but you can build your own
Mhm.
probably for $200 or $300,
Wow.
and
Remote
you can
control. Wow.
yeah, and because we have a mother that has actually, she's shown that on Facebook. She's shown how to create, how to build an RC balloon. She's actually back in the COVID days.
Mhm.
She sewed it right there on Facebook, live, letting
Okay.
everybody know how that was done. And I think women seamstresses were around long before men,
Mhm.
and and all these kinds of uh, balloons that are built, they have to be sewn together. That fabric of that
Oh.
envelope has to be sewn. So we
Mhm.
have a lot of men that sew, which I never, in other industries, I've never seen men take to the sewing machine except for tailors, and tailoring suits when I
Mhm.
was very young. But the majority of the women were the ones that were doing the sewing.
Mhm.
But I know the Cameron Balloons out of the UK actually is responsible, I think, for building the largest number of commercial balloons, and those, remember, the special shapes that you see. And
Mhm.
so they, in celebration of International Women's Day, they said, that they were so proud that that they had um, uh, so many women who were seamstresses for them, but it was still less than 50%. It
Mhm.
was, they still had more men than they did women sewing. But
That's cool though about the balloons and the remote control because there used to be a family. They moved years ago, but there was a family across the street, and they had a big remote control airplane.
hmm,
'Cause I
yeah,
would
I
see
have
them.
have those in the warehouse. Those are really cool too.
Yeah, they had
But
a van, and I would see
hmm,
them. They
yep,
would put the plane in the van, and I asked them about it, and they said that they would go to the stadium where there's a lot of
right.
empty space, and they would fly their plane along with other enthusiasts. And I'm just saying, any wholesome event like that you do with your folks. I mean, sometimes like we didn't have a lot of money, so basically we flew kites in spring. We would make a kite back then when you went shopping, you would get a paper bag, and we would make a kite. And we always had a sewing kit with ribbon, so we used the ribbon. And of course, it's easy to find string. So every year we look forward to making a kite with our dad, and we'd fly it around. Another thing we did was basically watch sports together. We didn't have a lot of,
Right. Oh, that's a big one. Watching sports together. That
and
you remember when it was when we were growing up that everybody went to the ball game, and when I said ball game, it was
baseball.
baseball. It was
Baseball.
right, baseball. Nobody missed a baseball
I
game.
don't, even to this day, I don't know too many people who go to basketball and football. It's always been much more expensive than baseball for some reason. Um, but yeah, we would drive around. Pop would go driving, and and he'd drive around to interesting places, and we'd be in the back seat, looking out the back window, oohing and eyeing. Anything wholesome that you do with your folks, I think brings the family together and really helps. Letting your kid just be on social media all day and you doing your thing and yeah, I'm not saying that's bad because sometimes you just need to get away. Sometimes you need to get away from the kids. I understand it, but there should be times when everybody's doing something together as well, to so that when
Exactly.
they become 14 and no longer say a word to you, and
Yeah.
you just accept it. He's going through a teen phase, and before you know it, he's out of the house with friends, and then you don't see him very often, and then you don't know what happened.
Well, I think it. I'm not all ballooning, but I just think it is the most, that whole, if you go into the history of ballooning,
Mhm.
it all was founded on a need to communicate, to
Really?
actually get their, oh yeah, well, the Montgolfier brothers, they were printers and wanted to be able, to communicate their sales and all that very easily, in the world. And so that's what inspired them to create a balloon so they could get up over the uh, people and have
Oh,
their banners flying. And so it all
okay.
started that way. And art. I mean, the Canson paper that you use for art, that actually, the Canson brothers, they're all connected to ballooning. That's how Montgolfier's wife, they're the whole thing. It's all
Wow. I didn't.
connected that way. But I will just tell you, and having lived it for 50 years,
Mhm.
that I look at, you say, what is one thing our family could do together, even if you don't own a balloon, is to attend the, be a crew member, attend the festivals, activities where they are,
Mhm.
because they draw people, they encourage you to learn how to communicate better,
Mhm.
and they give you opportunities to work with people because you can become part of the crew to help make sure the balloon gets up safely and that it's captured
Cool.
safely. So it and that's how a lot of young people get started. I mean, you don't have to be a millionaire. You really don't. And the thing with these RC balloons, if you can at least get to that level, you can
Mhm.
build your own. Like I said, for a few $100s, but you can buy one like in the $2,000 to $5,000 range. And the thing with that is you can build a whole business off of that, an advertising program, because you can take the RC balloon
Mhm.
to an event or have it in front of a business, and
Oh, it's
promoting that event. And so
kind of like skywriting.
yeah, I
Eh,
mean, there's just
I love it.
so much that's tied to it. That was really why I was trying to tell everybody, hey, wait a minute, it's another communication tool.
I had
You know,
no idea.
and
Yeah.
like you and I being here live today, those
Hmm.
kids all learned how to go do live streaming. They're out there reporting back. I mean, it's a whole
Cool.
new era of live streamers. And
Hmm.
even the guys that are 70 years old, they're out there with their smart devices streaming, from the event because the families, the community wants to know.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I'm so grateful to have been involved in that particular space because it is a family sport and it does actually, encourage families to stay together.
Hmm.
And there's, as far as percentages of divorces in that industry, it's minimal. And believe me, when you have like 2,000 pilots in the world, if someone gets divorced, everybody knows about it,
I
so,
gotcha. I
so,
gotcha.
no, I just think it was really, I'm blessed that we connected because you're part of the country in the USA. Ballooning is very. I'm sure you've seen them. And
I have not in North Carolina. I saw a hot air balloon once in my life. I was visiting a
wow,
friend in Virginia,
Virginia, yes, Virginia
and
has balloons
and we
too.
heard this weird noise.
The
It
blowing,
ran
yeah, the
out the
burners.
window,
Uh huh.
and so we jumped in the car and followed it.
Uh huh.
And we met a bunch of hot balloon
Hot air balloons.
enthusiasts in a park. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was the first and only time I've ever seen a hot
I'll
air
be
balloon.
darned.
So, and I suspect that in North Carolina, I would think that hot air ballooning would be popular east of me because that's the ocean, as opposed to where the mountains are to the west.
Oh, it's on the
So,
East Coast. It's really popular. So
yeah, that's what I
it
would
just
think.
depends on where you're at. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like 2 hours away from the coast.
Yeah.
So maybe uh, one day I'll look into going out there and seeing hot air balloons in North Carolina. That would be fun. Because at one time I saw it in Virginia. I mean, just to think that we jumped in the car and followed a balloon. I mean, the excitement was there.
Uh huh. Uh
The
huh.
excitement was there.
I definitely get that. So, it's been so wonderful to catch up with you, and
Very nice
I
having
didn't
you.
want you to think I was. But
Oh
an
no,
International Women's Day, you ought to look up the history of International Women's
I
Day.
will.
You
I
know,
do
our
remember.
our mamas were born. The whole family side of that, but you're going back there, and we didn't have equal rights. We didn't have,
But you
it
know
was
what?
definitely.
I don't know if this is part of what I'm remembering. I remember a lady named Miss Holton. She was a friend of my mom way back in the late 1990s, maybe it was. She went all the way to China for an
Mm,
international women's thing, festival or something. And I'm wondering if that was International Women's Day. I'm wondering because she went all the way to China for this. So, do you know how long they've been celebrating International Women's Day?
I have as to when in the timeline of it, they actually show it on at internationalwomensday.com. There's a timeline,
Okay, let me see.
and
Because
the name I think was changed, if I remember right, because it was um, get. I thought it,
let me
or as
see.
the first time it was actually called International Women's Day. Yeah, it was in 1975 during Vietnam.
Oh, it's even further back. Okay. But
As
see, if we,
Women's Day. Now they had Working Women's Day, they had women's suffrage. That's what I'm saying. It just visit that you
oh,
can see the timeline, and then it was during President Carter's time that they had the National Women's. He initiated the National Women's History Week the first time.
oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Because March is Women's Month. That's right.
Pretty much, pretty much.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it's a big deal.
In New York City in 1857,
Yeah.
female textile workers marched in protest of unfair working conditions and unequal rights for women. 1857?
Yep. Well,
Man.
you know that even when you and I were young, it wasn't equal.
It's not equal now. What tickles me is this movement of trying to force women to go back to the 1950s. There's this, there's this
Been there,
big,
done that.
they're calling it trad. They're calling the trad. They're looking for trad. What? Oh, look, I got confetti. Oh, that was cute. Trad wives.
Hmm.
And when they're saying back to the 1950s, I'm like, that's not the way it was in the 1950s. The way I remember, the women were working when back in the
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, there's no way I would have grown up in such a nice neighborhood.
Hmm.
Mom worked and Pop worked. They both worked. And my grandmother worked.
I've,
Everybody worked.
um,
Both my grandmothers worked.
yeah, the same thing in my story, in my family story. My
Yeah.
mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother. Even women,
Oh, my great
you kind
grandmother
of
worked too.
discount it that women were in farming. A lot of them were in farming, and
Mhm.
basically it's a manufacturing because they were, not only growing the pears, they were
Mhm.
canning them. They
Okay. Okay.
but
Yeah, both my great grandmothers worked. My dad's grandmother was a school teacher. I heard she was real good and real strict, one of those strict ones. Then my mom's grandmother worked. She was an entrepreneur. She had this little setup at the back of her house, and so she would do white ladies laundry, and like I guess she would like press it and like fold it and stuff. Oh, check this out, Barb. Check this out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm not going far. Check this out.
I
I
see you, Roxanne.
I have my I have my great grandmother's irons. They weigh a ton. I can
Yep,
barely I can barely lift
yep,
this.
yep, yep,
Oh
yep.
my god. And here's another one.
Totally.
And it says like Jake. It says Jake's on top. This little iron weighs like 100 pounds. I mean,
Yep,
they put it in the fire. I remember back in the day, you dip your hand in water and go like this,
yep,
with the
yep,
coal
yep.
first with
Did that.
water, and
Well,
then
didn't as a young girl, didn't you? I don't know about you, but I was like thrilled I could get a 25-cent week allowance. My dad brought, he said, I'll give you kids an allowance, but you have to earn it. So, like going from 25 cents to $1 was a big
ooh,
deal,
okay,
know. But if I ironed, I would get 25 cents a piece, to iron
ooh,
it.
nice.
So I learned how to iron. I was very good at ironing. I don't, back in the day, I ironed pillowcases.
Oh yeah, we had to iron the sheets and the pillowcases and stuff,
Right, the
but,
sheets.
not with these heavy things. At least when I was a kid, we had a GE electric, a much lighter iron. I assume it had a spray nozzle. I don't remember, but I do remember the ladies back in the day sprinkling water on the clothes like that. Oh, Regetti's saying that her grandmother worked too and was a great community leader and well respected. All right. And Roxanne's watching us on the big screen. That's
Look at
cool.
she crushed walnuts, yeah. With her grandma's iron. I can relate to that
Okay.
totally.
Rigetti has two of them. Okay. And what did you just say? Crush walnuts with her grandma's.
Yeah.
That is clever.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, that. Why didn't I think? Yeah, it was. We had such a hard time. Of course, that's right. I didn't grow up in a house. Yeah, this was. I grew up in Chicago, so I didn't get these irons until I moved here to Durham because,
Hmm.
I moved in with my aunt. So if we had had these irons, yeah, we probably would have crushed the walnuts and pecans and whatnot with them. That's clever. That's real clever. But yeah, women have always worked. I mean, and I'm sure that the women who stayed home and dressed like Leave It to Beaver, pearls, and going to the
Never
society.
happened in my house.
But I acknowledge that there are people like that too. I didn't know any of them.
I
But
remember watching that on screen and asking my mom about that. And she
mhm.
says, "Oh, that's just in Hollywood, honey."
Well, because they were a different race, I just assumed it was just a different world
Yeah,
anyway, and I didn't
that's
even
funny
question
you
it.
said race because that mom used to refer to Hollywood as a race. You know,
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
those people are different from anybody else.
That is hilarious. So, okay. Well, I'm gonna mosey on. What do you have planned for your weekend?
I'm going to generate some AI art,
Ooh, okay,
and because tomorrow is Barbie Day, so one
okay,
of the things about Barbie is that it was heartbreaking for me because from the time I was little, I was designing my doll clothes.
okay.
Um, and so then when Barbie came along, ooh, I want to design things for her.
Wow,
Right. and and so that was another way I made money as a young kid was designing Barbie
wow.
doll clothes and selling them, and crocheting them. I did lots where I would
Oh,
actually crochet the clothes,
okay.
gorgeous outfits. So Barbie Day is a big deal with me because I've been an entrepreneur all my life,
Mm,
and Barbie was an entrepreneur, as you know. And if you know the whole story behind it, it's like it's a big deal in the USA in particular. But Barbie was, I believe, the first mature female doll that became a worldwide hit.
okay.
Women everywhere could relate to Barbie. But
Hmm.
ironically, wasn't it something that she had such a perfect body, but yet not? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Okay.
oh, how could she that tiny waist? Well,
What on earth, Roxanne? I never.
that was Midge. Midge and Barbie. Remember, Midge was the little girl. It's
Well,
Skipper.
actually,
Yeah,
you said
Midge and Skipper. Midge had the red hair, and Skipper had the blonde.
okay. I don't remember that particular feature. Um,
Mhm.
that's really
Little
interesting.
sister and her. Yeah. Well,
That
I'll
is
let you go. I got to get to some stuff done around here, but I will tell you it's kind of nice to have my husband around because he made me my uh, bacon and tomato sandwich for breakfast,
ooh.
which is the bacon was perfect. It's done in an air fryer.
There you go. I've learned how to do
And
that as of
he,
this week.
yeah, he could never cook and always laugh about, oh well, I can do steaks on a grill, but
Mhm.
and he got an air fryer. Now he's the one that he does all the cooking. He loves
Okay.
the air fryer. And anyway, he even cooked the peanut butter cookies in there. It's like we
Oh,
have that
okay.
George Foreman one that can switch to a oven, to an air fryer, and even a toaster. Yes,
Wow.
I'm sorry, it's Emerald de Grassi. He said, "I'm sorry."
Oh, oh, okay.
Even
That's
particular about that.
wow. That's awesome. Now, is it so the bread is toasted or not?
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds
but
delicious.
I didn't have just bread. I had croissants.
Oh, okay. Let me show you what I just let me show you what I just got. Okay, one second. Check this out. I just got this last week. It's a mini panini maker.
Yep, I've seen those before. I think I have
So
one.
because the panini sandwiches are when I see them on YouTube, I'm like, that's too
Mhm.
big. They make these humongous. So with the mini panini, you use only one piece of bread. So
Wow.
you butter
Hmm.
both sides, and you
Yep.
put the one piece of bread in here. You kind of like curve it around, and then you put all the ingredients down here, and then you close it. So it's a one piece of bread sandwich,
Yeah.
which is more to my liking because the other sandwiches with the two pieces of bread, they're just too
Too much.
humongous. It's just
Yeah.
so just
Well,
letting
the
you know.
croissant is lighter too. The croissant is light. That's why I like it because I having two pieces of bread is too much anymore.
Yeah, it's just too much. You don't need to eat that much,
Absolutely.
especially after a certain age when you're not playing sports anymore. You're not running around chasing children, and yeah, I'm going to be 70 this year, so so I'm just trying to eat. I always try to eat enough to keep me going, but not enough to get fat with on.
You look great. You look great. I
Thank
You're a
you.
beautiful woman. I don't know if I ever told you that, but you
Oh,
truly
thank
are.
you.
And
Thank you.
I'm pretty well preserved.
We are both, as they say in France, women of a certain age.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
There you
Very
go. Women of it. Well, I hope you have a beautiful weekend, Barb.
You too. It was
And
great
I
to catch up
appreciate
with
you
you
coming on the
again.
show.
Great to catch
Absolutely.
up with Roxanne as well, and Brigitte stopping by. That's cool too.
Definitely. And someone else was saying hello to Tasha. I want to thank Tasha
Oh,
also.
Tasha! Wow.
And oh, I missed her first message. Said, hey y'all, this is Tasha and Malachi King. Now Malachi came on the show couple of days ago talking about what's happening at Lion Park. And Tasha's her mom. And I want to wish you I'm just going to say get well soon. Malachi said you're going into the hospital, I think next week. So I'm just going to say, I don't know what it's all about. I'm just going to say get well soon. Hope everything goes splendid for you, for sure. And with that, we're both going to say, have
Do
a
that.
nice weekend. Ciao for now.
Yep.
Okay, bye bye.